Right, welcome back, people. Happy Tuesday, everyone. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great weekend. I need to update the title. Give me a second. I knew I was forgetting about something. I knew I was forgetting about something. I knew I was forgetting about something. I knew I did so many things. Sorry, people today. Had a rough day, but no worries. How you doing, Patrick? Yo, how you? Sorry that I started a bit late, Patrick. I know that kills you because of the time. So I'm sorry that I started a bit late, but I just arrived home. So, how are you, Era? How you doing, Patrick? A bit tired, but doing perfectly. Look at my level, Patrick. Look at my level. I did do some things off stream. Let's see, mid game. Game gameplay mechanics. There we go. Game mechanics. Here we go. Gameplay. Sorry, people. That sometimes I cannot start precisely at the correct hour. 5 level dungeons. So far, people, day number 21 of Metaphysical Analysis of Drakensang Online, we pretty much dealt with all of the aspects that the game has to offer by now. So, you are close to the end of the content. Indeed, it does look like it. It does look like it. I farmed the 3 levels on my own. So the famous portion that you and District said last week, that is the point in which everyone, I think he mentioned that only 30% get the help and the rest of the people do it like I did it. So I wanted to experience it. For anyone else watching this as a YouTube VOD, I basically wanted to experience the leveling process as any normal player would, without being on the 30% lucky people that get help just being carried through the dungeons. Now, because of that, it took me roughly 1 hour of stream, going from half of level 54 to from level 53. I had the experience bar over here, if you pay attention to the previous part, if you're watching this as a YouTube VOD, to level 54. And then I did side quests. I did all of the side quests in the desert region, just as a little bit of a quick recap. I basically did the side quests, and with that, I somehow managed to get that done. Now, then, when I eventually ran out of side quests, I did a bit of dungeon shopping, let's say. By dungeon shopping, I mean, is it annoying if I switch the topic from Drakensang Online? No, Patrick, never, Patrick. You always tell me, whichever. No worries. There just may be a delay between what I'm doing and replying to you. No worries. That is the point of a variety stream. Is the opposite of other things. And the MIA tag. I have a tag down here that says MIA. That means ask me anything. So that's a reason, because that's what I love doing at the end of the day. Like, I played already millions of games throughout my life, so what I enjoy is precisely chatting with you all. That's what I come to do here, to chat with you all, honestly. To chat with you all, so whatever the topic, I love it. So let me just add that there may be a delay as I deal with the game. For example, when I'm doing a boss or something, well, maybe it takes me some time to read it, but no worries. From 54 to 55, I did a bit of dungeon shopping, people, because while I could farm in the desert and everything, I wasn't comfortable in that dungeon. Why? Because of the environmental damage effects, like the acid pools that the enemies would do there. Besides, I could push the difficulty harder one more level, so I ended up choosing the Cradle of Frost, I think it was. The zone here, I'll recognize it. So, I picked this one, Vajalner's Cradle of Frost. I grabbed a 3-hour experience encyclopedia, and in 2 hours of the encyclopedia, I managed to farm almost from the beginning of level 54 all the way to 55. Let's suppose it would have been 2 hours and a half for the complete level. I highly recommend that if anyone has the same problem, this specific dungeon on excruciating will provide you a lot of enemy density because the enemies are all like smashed together. They are all smashed together, and they are easy to kill. So, in my experience, I spent more time actually searching for the correct dungeon to farm, but I would suggest this one. I would suggest this one. Oh, by the way, there's a terrible quest design where if you don't buy a thing from a monthly event, you can continue the main questline for 1 whole month. This has to be joke. Patrick. What? I cannot finish the main story of the game. Remember that I'm doing the main story. I want to finish the main story. Greenford area? Well, now I don't know which one is the main quest. So if the event pops up, I will guide our district to buy the thing. Yeah, please. Because the main quest being locked by a season event? You're telling me that for real? That's crazy. By the way, I had 1 hour more of my encyclopedia of experience here, and it expired. In other games, it does persist through logouts. In Star Wars: The Republic, for example, it persists through logouts. Here, you have to do it like all together. Okay. So I presume this is the main quest in Greenford. I mean, now I'm fucking lost. What the fuck? So, by the way, which was the topic that you wanted to talk about, Patrick? I have no problem. You tell me, and I say I reply to you about the person you asked me over at Discord. And basically, yes. Well, I might agree with some things, the conservative values, and etc. Always ask yourself why things happen. Why, if someone says whatever he says, that's the key. So Greenford, where's Greenford? Isn't it the initial area? Yes, it is the initial area. It's where I started the game some months ago. I don't know what I would do without this thing. John Sandlar. You have complied with my request. I'm truly grateful. You see, I found indications that research of shadows was once a kind of family business among the Sandlers. I must know if this is true and why we lost this knowledge. What the fuck? Serena spoke to me of an inscription about the Sandlers in the old tomb, but then the entire location was overrun by hideous creatures. Clearly a task for a hero, if you ask me. Please help Serena and find the inscription. I presume this is the main quest. I guess. Oh well, whatever. I cannot delete the quest, so it has to be this one. Enter the old tomb in the Surfield pastures. What the fuck? The game starts again? So, as I was mentioning at the beginning, Tutul, pretty much by now, we, just like it happened to me with Sacred 2, we have pretty much covered all aspects of the gameplay, level design, and everything of the game, pretty much. So, we will get to the end game, we'll keep experiencing the game, but pretty much we've covered all aspects that the game can offer to us. I've dissected every aspect of it. Then we will get to the final analysis. Unless if there is any other topic that I stumble upon that due to the direct consequence of being the end game or those things or the mid-late gameplay mechanics, I will highlight it. But so far, I think we are ready to go for the final analysis. I have pretty much an idea of everything that the game has to offer. We have to finish it. I cannot judge games without 100% doing the story, but still, um, the we will cover any new aspect that I stumble upon. Here, yes, Victory. I'm reading currently Thomas Aquinas, and it's so weird, so I don't find it pretty much entertaining or exciting, but I find it very interesting, and that's why I read it daily 3 or 4 hours. Okay, Victory. Okay, so you are currently reading it, and it's weird because of what I told you, because you are reading a medieval mind like mine, for example, and because of that, um, it's quite different to the vision of culture and society that we have nowadays. Because of that's why I preemptively told you about the the background of the history uh, of what happened with Immanuel Kant and everything. Okay? It's so weird. You don't find it entertaining nor exciting, but you find it interesting. That's why you read it. Well, you don't find it funny in that sense. It's not like an action movie. Then I can suggest you some series. I can suggest you maybe another media rather than a book, if it's not that interesting. That can also uh, show you the message. It does not need to be a book necessarily. For example, I wanted to ask you and everyone else. Then I will ask District and the same. Which cartoons did you watch as kids? I think that is something quite underrated that people don't pay attention to. For example, I believe it or not, before reading books and everything and studying a lot over at law school, uh, uh, I watched a lot of cartoons, and that certainly stimulated me. In that sense, I still watch them. I will be quite disappointing for you all people. Like a little child, for me, I find cartoons interesting rather than adult series. Why? Because adult series, I've found out that it's not that I cannot watch them, and I don't watch them. I watch some of them, but I precisely get bored quite fast. I get bored quite fast due to the fact that it makes me think, as they are designed nowadays, that adult series pretty much cater to an audience that pretty much made it to their teenage years, that they discovered sex pretty much specifically, and like their minds stayed there perpetually for eternity. Like if you watch any adult series, the content is basically based on sex, um, cultural stupidity, or mediocrity, and because of that, I would rather watch older cartoons, and that's it. They are much more rich in terms of knowledge, because I suspect the problem is that back then the story writers weren't illiterate. With all of my love, I think they weren't illiterate, and I think nowadays most of them are. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I don't read philosophy for entertainment. I read to be more educative. I feel your curious mind. No, it's okay. It's okay. I also, of course, didn't. Patrick, I didn't read it for entertainment. First of all, I had to read it because otherwise, I would not pass the subjects over at university. In that sense, but no, the important part is, as I've said, just take from it that any author that you read beyond the 1700s, written after the 1700s, will not be like that. will be a relativist. You don't need to read all of the page of the encyclopedia at all. You do. I mention it. I mention it. Younger than the group, do you find any clues there? Tell me any clues on Ring Hill. I mention it just so you have an idea, because you mentioned to me that you were reading others, humanism and more modern ones. I mentioned those precisely, my school of thought, just so you then know the two stances in that sense. The two stances and the fallacy of relativism in that sense. Because most thinkers, that is the key, most thinkers, 99% of them, only know post relativism, post Age of Enlightenment. So with that, you already know more than 99% of the population, I would say, as it's not taught even on high-level education. What I suggest you to read, Thomas Aquinas. Pretty much, by reading that, you really have the complete picture of it. The complete picture of it. That 99% of people don't have. So, yeah. Regarding that, Patrick, did you watch cartoons as a child, Patrick? Which ones did you watch in that sense? That could also stimulate a lot. I'll love doing that, as I mentioned it, people. I think they are quite underestimated. I think they're quite underestimated. Hey, look at that! Now I can enter Fatal, Infernal. Ah, yeah. Well, previously I could as well. Pretty much. I would suggest you cartoons for entertainment. I can suggest you cartoons for entertainment. As watching, of course, video games, I can suggest you millions. But I don't know. Maybe you mention it to me because you want kind of like a source of entertainment. Maybe a source of entertainment. Cartoons, I would suggest, without a doubt. Reading, of course, is for what you mentioned. For what you mentioned. Precisely. Fulfilling a curious mind. But for entertainment, I would suggest that. I don't watch cartoons. I watch like very cheap sitcoms for children, and you sitcoms for childs, and you rewatch them every time. Yeah, pretty much, but not even as a little kid. Not even as a little kid, because as a little kid you cannot watch just that. Well, it is true that nowadays the quality has fallen, so yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. You would need to watch older cartoons. I recommend you. They will show you. They were more in depth. They were more in depth. There was a problem, a cultural problem in that sense. Back when I was a child in the 90s and the early 2000s, cartoons weren't just for kids. Western cartoons weren't just for kids. They were for everyone. They had universal values for adults as well. As I rewatched them more as a grown up, I realized how in depth some of them were in that sense. But nowadays, it is true that they've left that market to the Japanese producers. The Eastern cartoons are still like that, are still more mature, let's say. Oh, fuck it. And I'm using new gear that I looted. They are more like that, while Western cartoons remain for like very, very low, absolutely shallow, very, very low bar in that sense for really, really younger kids in that sense. But back in my days, it wasn't like that. I bet you would love any of the cartoons from my time. I bet you would love them. I bet you would love them. I suggest that if you want to entertain yourself, you find online. Fuck it. I increased the difficulty way too much, I think. I'm getting killed in one below. By the way, I revamped the skill tree. Since the Blood Mage consumes health with every attack on a percentage basis, I increase my health regeneration every time I kill an enemy, and my natural health regeneration. Thanks to that, as you can see, I can now at least execute my attacks, of course. So I would suggest you, Patrick, to take a look at cartoons from the 90s and the early 2000s, and you will be pleasantly surprised. I suggest you Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack. There's no way you won't love Samurai Jack if you want to entertain yourself. I would highly suggest that one. Batman of the 90s. Batman of the 90s. I suggest you all of them if you want to get entertained, because you will be able to verify that society wasn't like it is today in a lot of aspects. And there you will see relativism in action without reading a word. You will see that in those cartoons, and why is relativism so popular? And is realism more of an underground? Ah, great question, Patrick. Great question. Because relativism is more seductive. I mentioned it to you. It's more seductive. And just like it is now, it was back in the day when it started spreading across Europe. Why is it more seductive, you might ask me? Easy, because it's easier to say that everyone has an opinion and the sum of them is reality than the unpopular thing that I do, which is telling you whatever I think, regardless of the fact if you like it or not. In that sense, that is the difference. Instead, if I told you, oh well, I can tell you whatever I want, but at the end of the day, imagine with the topic of the drugs, for example, with the topic of the drugs. Imagine if I told you, instead of what I said, that it goes to the front left lobe of the brain and it kills people, and because of that I would execute drug lords on the spot. Instead of that, imagine if I told you, okay, I am against the consumption of toxic substances. I am against it, of course, I am against it, but that's it. It's my opinion. You do whatever you'd like. See that I'm not objectively nagging, let's say, or reprehending anyone for doing the activity at the end of the day. I wash my hands. I wash my hands. I ignore all consequences and responsibility that the activity will bring to society, and I say, well, it's just my opinion. See why I said it's seductive. It's my opinion. And well, if you all want to do so, well, if it doesn't affect me, go ahead, go for it. If it doesn't affect me, why would it bother me? If it's my opinion, and if everyone agrees that that is not toxic for society, well then I keep my opinion and that's it. Yeah, you are not trying to help, just say this is bad in my opinion, but I don't care if you die of in overdose because that is your opinion. Well, precisely. But see that it's seductive. You understand why it's so tempting for the average individual. You get it. I bet you get it. In that sense, you never reach any objective conclusion. Easy to understand. It's not that easy for most of the population. Don't fall for that. It's not that easy. It's not that easy, because then a person will tell you, okay, but it's my freedom. You cannot stop my freedom. That's the point in which freedom gets out of hand, and it's not freedom when you are uh, uh, causing that damage to yourself. It's objectively a, a bad negative activity in objective terms for me. Of course, for me, I can see it perfectly in my perception, but the person can't. For example, you would be surprised. For example, your friend that you mentioned that had the problem with that. Do you think he would understand it as easy as you just did? Probably not. Probably not. For example, for example, for you it's easy to understand because you're intelligent and you have an open mind. But for someone who has been told, besides the culture doesn't help, because if you are told constantly you have you have absolute freedom. Imagine this is the message, because this is the message nowadays. You have absolute freedom. No one can tell you what you should nor could do. Nothing. Nothing at all. They cannot tell you anything. Your parents are stupid and you know better than them what to do with your life. Because their generation was shit. They were all, the women were, I don't know, washing or cooking, and your parents and your and the men were, I don't know, we were oppressing them all in that sense. When you are told that, that's what happens. That's what happens. Nah, he would never accept any kind of help. Well, like that. You see the damage of relativism now. At least you can see it. I bet you can see it, because the person would say, "That's it." But see that it's way too tempting to not take any responsibility for your actions. This happens nowadays, sadly, more with women than men. Sadly, because women, because of how the message of gender theories and etc. is designed, we men are responsible for everything bad that has happened to them, supposedly. Fortunately, Donald Trump is reversing this 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 atrocity, because it's false, because it's false, because it's false, because men have protected women throughout the history of humanity, contrary to anything. To anything said by these illiterates and truly disgusting. Oh, as I know, you are not the fan of the 150 different gender chaos. I think I talked to you once about, I don't know, I think you and Flying Energies were on stream. I think it was when I was playing Star Wars Your Republic, could it be? No, I think it's completely flawed because it violates the laws of metaphysics completely. Yeah, remember that I said that you would put a cell phone or any object inside of a box, and that object would move in time and space, uh, being inside of the box in that sense, and the same applies for gender theories, because if supposedly the gender is determined psychologically inside of the consciousness of the brain, which is a biological framework, the content, the thought of gender theory inside of the brain can never determine the content, can never determine the framework in time and space. Pretty much. It's because of that. And like that. And since the biological brain is born either male or female, because it's affected by different chemicals, is that, for example, precisely what I told you, that the Argentine professor that was at Paris had to go to Hungary, precisely, because he said that in men the hormones affect the brain, and in a way that it doesn't affect women in that sense. So yep, pretty much because of that, and because it breaks all rules of metaphysics in that sense. Hey, this quest is going to be quite long, 4 out of 12 objectives, and I fear it's making me go through the classic zones of the game once again. There's one enemy at level 60 there. What the fuck? Ah, yeah, I scaled the dungeon. My bad. Okay. What's your favorite book for entertainment, by the way? For entertainment, you mean non-academic one? Or you mean in general that I like reading? My favorite book is Ender's Game, but for pure fun, let's say, like for pure fun, like watching a TV show, something like that. I have a whole bookshelf from the floor to the roof of my room with Star Wars books. I love Star Wars in that sense. I think it's a brilliant idea and it opens the mind 100%. As I said, my favorite book is Ender's Game, which is a psychological representation of the atomic bomb of the United States. Pretty much. It's deeper than that. But yeah. Pretty much. It's a quite amazing book. Old. It's my favorite science fiction book, but for something that you would say not thinking, Star Wars novels. Believe it or not, well, I am also quite quite the historian in terms of the expanded universe of Star Wars. People don't know if it was obvious, but yes, Star Wars is much bigger than the 6 movies that were originally released. In that sense, if it has to, as I've said, Patrick, I would recommend you cartoons. I would recommend you cartoons from the 90s or the 80s. I think you will have lots of fun with them, but if it needs to be a book, I read that. And also, well, I did read a lot of Sherlock Holmes once. I love Sherlock Holmes once for entertainment. Sherlock Holmes. For example, I love The Hound of the Baskervilles. It's one of my favorite. It was one of the first books I read in English. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Wait, no entrance permitted here. John Sandler sends you. This place was sealed away and is guarded by us dragon knights. John should know about this place. You may enter, but don't stay long. So yeah, I can show them to you for a sec. Give me a sec. For example, something like this. For example, something like this. I have a whole collection. I have like 40 something. It's in Spanish. I can read you the title. It's The Resurgence of the Force. So this guy is Obi-Wan here. This is when Obi-Wan started his training before the first movie. Just so you have an idea. So I have a collection of these, for example, and they are pretty much like watching a cartoon. Pretty much, they are like watching a cartoon, and that. As for the rest, it's not a book, but I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I love Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know if you've ever played or watched Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. I highly recommend it. It's a card game. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I loved Pokemon as a child as well. So it makes me feel terribly sad that your generation didn't get something collectible as those things, because I think they were brilliant ideas. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z. Patrick, you have to watch classic Dragon Ball Z in that sense, and you will be. It will give you back the. One Piece is the best district. Damn it, district. No, I am Team Naruto for that period of time. I love the original Naruto for that period of time, district. How you doing? Look at my level, district. I found a way. One Piece. No, I'm Team Naruto from that period of time. I think the first, not Shippuden, not the second part. Team Naruto, says Patrick. You smile. You watch Naruto. I watch all Naruto series, and I'm watching Boruto manga too. Look at that! You watch some Well, but the original one, you watched the original one or Shippuden? You watched the original one or Shippuden? I watched the original one, and I think it's still one of the best. Patrick did watch Naruto. See, there was something that you watched, Patrick. No, I'm mostly mostly. I was commenting precisely to Patrick District which cartoons you all watched as a child, and he didn't mention me a lot, but he did watch Naruto. Look at that. No, I was more of Western cartoons in that sense. Original one too, and she put it when they are adults, indeed, indeed. But you watched them all completely. You watched them all complete. I did watch them all completely, as they released in their debut, in their original heyday. In that sense, you both watched them. I think the original is unbeatable. I think the yes, and I mean Boruto, they are the fathers. I couldn't get to watch Boruto. I couldn't. Just you watched Naruto at 13, and it was an emotional chaos. It was heavy. No, it has an amazing message. The original series, not Shippuden. The original series. The original series has an amazing message. An amazing message. Like few I've ever seen. Has an amazing message. Has an amazing message of putting effort into everything and that you are never born uh, like with your life sold. That's why I love it. There's one I love more. There's one I love more. There's one I love that is better. The final season of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. The final season is the best. Is my favorite. More than Naruto, which is almost impossible. It's a quite unpopular opinion, but it's because most people don't even understand the message. Of that final season. That's the thing. Have you even watched Boruto the first me? Yes, I watched it. I watched it a bit. I watched it a bit. I watched it a bit. I think it beats the original message of the series. I think it beats the original message of the series. I thought so with Shippuden. I think that the real ending of Shippuden, you know what happened? The real ending of Shippuden, a lot of us, a lot of fans of the series agree that was the Pain arc, when Pain is beaten, and it was definitely it should have ended somehow there or something like that. Why? Because writer the real writer, the I don't remember the Japanese name, but the real writer left the series there, and it is noticeable immediately. The proper writer of the series died with pain. Well, I will not spoil where Boruto is at the moment, because maybe you will watch it in the future, but it's crazy. No, and besides that, the fights are way too short for my taste. I love long fights. For me, if a fight is not like Goku against Freezer with 7 episodes, mm, I just cannot stomach it. And Naruto was like that. It was like that. It was slow. Every movement had precisely an emotional charge that it just doesn't have nowadays. They are like fast food fights, and for me, that is killing me. As I was mentioning, I know that I think pretty much. Well, I don't know in your case, District, but pretty much in your case, Patrick, I can assure you that in my generation, Western cartoons weren't the shit that they are now, because now there's a huge disparity between the quality of Eastern and Western cartoon. Who is your favorite character out of Naruto? Well, without a doubt, the best written character is Sasuke, without a doubt. He's the best written character. He's the best written character I've seen in a lot of cases. Um, the one I personally love a lot is Itachi, without a doubt. Is Itachi, but I would say Sasuke is still a bit top one. Uh, he represents he represents is the best representation of real frustration derived from I don't know, any, for example, any football or tennis player that you can see ever, the 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 character development is the perfect representation of competition. In that sense, it's the perfect representation of competition. And then, well, in the case of that, Itachi is also written like incredibly, incredibly, incredibly. I still think that the original intention of the original author was not to make him a good character in the sixth season. I think when they both lose Jiraiya and, and Itachi, but I think that was the highest point. You should watch One Piece. We are at episode 1000. 11k 1141 only XE. No, I cannot watch them. No, I cannot watch that one. It's not, because I know it followed the same as Naruto, and the rest of the tendencies. uh no, I'm right now it will be quite difficult for me to find one like them. I need the fights to last 5-7 episodes. Otherwise, and that doesn't exist nowadays. It's impossible. It will never happen again. So for me, that is very important. That is very important. I despise. If you compare this, compare the final fight between Naruto and Sasuke, and in the first in the original series, and in Shippuden. In Shippuden, it's 2 episodes. 2 episodes. Two. The fighting. Then, of course, there's a third one with the ending. But two. The action is two. In the original one is 5, 6, 7, something like that. You should watch Doctor Stone, the anime. The fights last for 7 episodes. Sorry, I need that. I can't tolerate anything except for that. When the fights I see that they start in one episode and they finish in one episode, it kills me. It kills me. That cannot happen. That for me is a sin. It's a sin. It wasn't like that in the 90s. It wasn't like that in the early 2000s. No, I was mentioning to you. My favorite tunes were Western cartoons. That had quality back in the day. Nowadays, video games have replaced Western cartoons for US, EU, well, US. I'm, let's say, in the Americas and Europe, Western audiences for us all. And in these, they still retain the quality that we had in the 90s in that sense. So I think it's a terribly unfair situation. I'll suggest you Samurai Jack, Batman of the Future, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Generator Rex, Ben 10. I love Ben 10 because it I love how it highlights the value of family. I bet you all can see why the original Ben 10 nowadays would be completely prohibited. It not, I don't know if prohibited, but it highlights the value of family above all, which is amazing. But I have millions more that I could tell you. Megas XLR, Patrick, there. You want to have a laugh? The best comedy ever produced by a Western cartoon is the most unknown one. It's called Megas XLR. I don't know if anyone here watched Megas XLR. I pretty much watched every single cartoon of Cartoon Network, all of them. I watched them all, like completely all of them. 90s period to early 2000s and late 2000s until they went to shit. Until the late 2000s, I guess, not all of them. In that sense, Megas XLR. If you don't laugh, if you don't get entertained watching Megas XLR, there's nothing that will make you, that will give you joy out of it. Megas XLR. It's the American spirit of the United States multiplied tenfold. But with a touch that is like no other. It makes me laugh every second. It doesn't matter your age. It will, but above all, you have to watch Samurai Jack. I loved Samurai Jack. It will show you. It will bring you a smile, Patrick, because it will remind you of a better time when there was dignity and honor in society in a lot of cases. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Well, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, if you like Star Wars, but um, another good one from that period of time. I love how a lot of people say that the best is. Everyone will say the best one is Avatar: The Last Airbender. I didn't like it. I'll go to sleep now. Hope you have a good stream as well. Good night, brother. Good night, Patrick. Sorry that I started a bit late. I know that kills uh, it for a lot of you. So sorry for that. But always enjoy the chats and always ask me anything if you have any curiosity. Thank you, Patrick, for visiting. Thank you. Anytime. See you next time. Okay, so I was mentioning people. I was mentioning I made it to level 55. I made it to level 55. I made it to level 55. Batman of the 90s. Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond and Batman from the 90s. They are amazing. I was mentioning I made it to level 55, and apparently the main quest sends us back to the beginning of the of the game. It's making me go through all of the maps once again, in that sense, to the Northlands now. I hope this is the main quest, actually. I love how it's giving me the encyclopedias of experience now when I needed them last week. So I was mentioning that I basically spent 2 hours and a half basically for one level at the Cradle of Frost to go from 54 to 55. And from 53 to 54, I was right at the end that I left it at the stream. I just did the most of the arena quest there and some side quests that I found in the desert. Pretty much that was my strategy, and I could do it like 1 hour on Friday, basically 1 hour on Friday, and then 2 hours and a half on Sunday. I could even play Star Wars: Your Republic. I didn't fail my guild master and my friends. You would know people over at Star Wars: Your Republic. I have 3 groups that demand to play with. See the sacrifice I did to get to level 55. But no. I managed the time well. District One Piece, for example, the strongest villains in, let's say, episode 1 to 50, 50 to 100. 100 to 150 and so on until 1141 he was super weak, but now we are on episode 1141. He got a lot stronger and now he's fighting all the strongest villains in the world, and the studio quality is killing it. Also, animation is something you never saw before. Yeah, that's true. Also, the animation went to shit. It's actually cartoon animation and sounds too, and believe it or not, one fight lasts for at least 3-4 months or 1 year. I was shocked too to see they change it to cartoon animation and sounds. Okay, District. So you still watch the modern One Piece and Boruto in that sense, and don't you feel the quality has lowered compared? Like, which one would you pick? The original Naruto, the original One Piece, or this one? That's a tough question. Yes, that it has dropped the quality. Yes. In the case of Naruto, well, at least I can tell you it was done by a French studio, by Studio Pierrot, that had a brute. To be honest, you like more the modern one. You like more the modern ones. It's a valid opinion if you can justify it. Old quality was much better. Now we barely see blood or anything. Okay. Old one was top tier. Okay. Okay. Well, in my case, it was pretty much like that. In my case, I watched Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z. Then, of course, the original Naruto was pretty much the best in that sense. Was unbeatable in that sense. The fourth season of Yu-Gi-Oh, I watched them all. The original. You agree with this? Yeah, that the old ones were the best. Yeah, the old ones were the best. The old ones were the best. I would even, as I told you precisely, I think Naruto should have ended with pain. Now the people who do animation, they barely put any blood or injuries on characters. No, it's more than that. The cultural changes in society. It's like they didn't get beaten at all. No, yeah. Of course. No, it's more than that. How they treat topics, is a bit more shallow, and it doesn't have the emotional charge that it had back then. No. And it's objectively like that. Like, for example, in Naruto, I remember, and this one thing. This doesn't have to do, because anyone watching this as a YouTube bot will say this. This doesn't have to do with nostalgia. It doesn't have to do. You could say that him or me or Patrick with Naruto as well, that we are mentioning because of nostalgia. You watched it as a child and you have no quality as a child. Wait, you didn't watch Naruto Shippuden? Yeah, I watched it completely. Yes, I finished it. Yes, I watched it entirely district on its heyday in Japanese with subtitles. Yes, I watched it like that, and then I watched it in English the few episodes that I did. In Shippuden, no, I think it was terrible. I think it doesn't compare to the original one. I'm sorry. The final in Shippuden, the ending. Why? Because first of all, in a direct comparison with the original, the emotional charge of all of Sasuke's past was perfectly detailed in between them. Second, during the fight, in the original one, the off camera, let's say, well, not off camera, the perspective of the fight is seen from both sides. At the beginning from Sasuke, with all of the past story, then from Naruto with the present problems. In this fight, in the modern one, since it's only one episode, two episodes, there's barely any room for that emotional charge of showing their thoughts. Second argument, the power levels are off the charts to the point they desperately tried to reduce them, knowing of their mistake, by making them fight immediately without any pause with the final fourth ninja war, etc. They were exhausted and they couldn't go full power, supposedly. That is a poor Deus Ex Machina, as it is told in theaters, as an excuse to justify that they really couldn't apply any of the quality animation of the original one regarding the fist fights. There's barely any fist fights, so it's easier to just activate a lot of special effects without the fist fights that they did in the original one. And it's deeper than that point. Why? Because in the original series, they hired they hired real kung fu martial artists, karate as well, judo, etc., to first recreate the fights and then replicate them on the cartoon, on the anime, on the cartoon basically, the anime. In Shippuden, since there are Dragon Ball Z like movements, mm, they didn't need to hire real martial artists. There's a reason why the original Naruto has the best stylish movements ever created, because they are real movements done by real martial artists, believe it or not, from all across Japan. I think in the at the beginning of every chapter it says the company that they hired. I don't know if it was Kung Fu Generation, Kion, or something like that. So, because of that, way too short the fight. 2 episodes. The duration. It doesn't give room for any emotional charge. Second, because of that same reason, the perspective is only from Naruto. Sasuke is just a fucking stone to remove from the way and proceed with the story. You get that. Third and fourth, third, the part of the kung fu movements that weren't recorded from real kung fu martial artists. The same happened in Star Wars District. In case you are interested, in Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, regardless of the complaints about the fact that Anakin was a fucking my favorite movie ever is Star Wars 3 episode 3 of Revenge of the Sith. That Anakin was an unexpressive a fucking actor and all the curses to Hayden Christensen. That is Anakin. He was unexpressive, etc., etc. The guy did, alongside Ewan McGregor, the best movements in any fight ever, because one, George Lucas assigned them power levels before the movie started, before Star Wars Episode 3 was recorded. For example, Palpatine and Yoda were power level 10. Anakin was power level 7. Then he turns into power level 8 when he goes to the dark side. Obi-Wan is power level 9. Mace Windu is power level 9, so he could beat the Emperor because I think it's like this, the explanation. The Bapad style of lightsaber combat takes the negative energy of the dark side and reflects it upon its own. So the level 10 of Palpatine that I told you about originally was reflected onto itself. That's how you justify that a level 9 character can beat a level 10 character. For example, well, it was much more than that. The guy practiced a lot and it's the same. Okay, fourth point about Sasuke versus Naruto Shippuden. Fourth point. The ending is absolutely safe. It's safe, uncompromising of anything, and because of everything, it's really difficult to understand what they did with Sasuke post a pain arc. Why? Because he started turning good, evil again. Absolutely evil, that he was supposedly to find redemption after killing Itachi. Evil again, then good again, then evil again, then good again. Pretty much. It feels as if they just turned the character into whatever it needed to be an obstacle to Naruto, without any personal character development beyond that. So there's also that. Finally. What about Orochimaru versus Naruto in Shippuden? In the second season, you mean? Second season is good for me. Second season is good, at least in terms of fights. Second season, you mean? It's one of the best. It's one of the best fights. It's what every other fight should have been. No, the when they were on the bridge, the second season, the Tensu bridge, I think. I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the best. If you like that one, play the Ultimate Ninja Storm 5 on the PS2. I don't know if on emulator or anything. But play that one because that one has the best representation of that fight. It has an orchestral piano music alongside it that is unbeatable. The last Ultimate Ninja of the PS2 has the best representation of that fight because it's the final fight. It's the final story arc that they had back in the day. It's also made by CyberConnect 2 that made Ultimate Ninja Storm, the Ultimate Ninja Storm series. It was the original work. The Ultimate Ninja without Storm 5 on the PS2. If you like that one, which I agree is one of the best representation is not even the real fight in the anime. It's the one on the PS2 in that game. It has an orchestral piano music that is just they did a score that I don't know how the fuck they did it, but it's better than the anime one. I think that fight was probably the best. Yeah, it would be. No, for me the best one is the Valley of the End of the original Naruto, the final one against Naruto and Sasuke, the original one. Yeah, the original one. It's perfect, just perfectly executed. Or the one against Naruto versus Neji as well. I love that one as well. I love that one. And the one of the third Hokage against Orochimaru of the second season. Naruto should have won that. the one against in the Valley of the End against Sasuke. Should have won that one. If he had won that one, it would have made Kishimoto go broke. In that sense, yep, it would have made Kishimoto go broke completely. Oh fuck it, he rescued his friend. How will we continue this shit? And he didn't win because they planned Naruto should put it. No, I don't think it was that much. I think it was already planned beforehand. No. I don't think he won it because of that. he didn't win it because of that. I think he didn't win it because already in the original Naruto they were planning to make it like that. If you watch the final filler seasons of it, they are pretty much still looking for him. No one ever watches the filler seasons of the ending of Naruto. The final filler seasons after that. No one watches them, and they are quite amazing. No. I think they made it. I think it was planned to be like that. I think it was perfectly executed, and I think it was. It was pretty well done. And it was perfectly executed. No, and the other character that is perfectly done is perfectly done until he supposedly becomes a saint and etc. Is Itachi. Itachi is. I don't agree with a lot of people who say that he should have stayed evil. That Itachi should have stayed evil. I think it was a pretty well executed, but they should have added more elements to at least for the audience to at least suspect a bit more, to make it more convincing afterwards. I think it was a good decision to make him like a saint like that, but they should have given the audience some more hidden clues about it. Some more hidden clues. Like the only hidden clue you really get is only some seconds after the fight by Setsu. I think it was the character, the other Akatsuki member. I think they should have given some more subtle clues Also, believe me or not. What? That they planned everything? No, I believe that maybe they planned it. I believe that maybe they planned it, but I think it was still perfectly written. Jiraiya versus Pain was better than Naruto versus Pain. That one is tough. That one is tough. Oof, District. That one is tough. Both are amazing. But no. I would stay with Naruto versus Pain. I would stay with Naruto versus Pain. I would stay with Naruto versus. I would stay with Naruto versus Pain. I would stay with Naruto versus Pain because in the case of Jiraiya, you never get a justification. In the case of Itachi, yes, because Sasuke was looking for him to kill him. But in the case of Jiraiya, you really don't get a brutally interesting explanation as to why he gets into enemy territory to get killed without any backup or reinforcements. In that sense, they should have polished that a bit more. Like, okay, let's go. We need both of their masters killed. In the case of Sasuke, that is solved. He hates Itachi. We've been working on it for a whole series, for millions of years. In the case of Jiraiya, how can we kill him, the poor guy? How can we kill the poor guy? in that sense, he infiltrates into enemy territory, but he goes in alone. Yeah, because he's way too brave. I think they sent Jiraiya there because he had to die, so Naruto fight them. Yeah, precisely. That's what they do. But there isn't any logical explanation as to why they do it. They do it. They do it to cause all of that. But but it does not make any sense or logic. Go there. He has to die. Go there. He has to infiltrate the village hidden in the rain alone, all on his own, because he's brave and amazing. And then they fight a fucking war. In that sense, like, why give the guy some backup, some reinforcements? Like the poor guy is so artificial how he's sent to die. I mean, in the case of Itachi, now it feels natural. Sasuke was looking for him, etc. But the other one, go die there. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, it's like that. Hey, go die there. You need to die, my man. Sorry, you need to die. It feels so artificial. The previous situation to the fight. In that sense, go infiltrate alone. No backup at all. You did everything for us. You saved the village several times. Go, die alone. We won't tell Naruto. No, he will be busy doing something else. No one will be. All of your friends abandon you. Like Kakashi could have been with him. Tsunade, anyone. He talks with Tsunade and he goes in alone still and well and the poor guy is sent to die in such an artificial way. In that sense, it's terrible. No, and the other one that I like that is quite underrated. The thing is that not anyone can watch it is Yu-Gi-Oh. I love Yu-Gi-Oh. Don't know if you managed to get through Yu-Gi-Oh District, because if you don't like the card game, it's like impossible to get to watch it. Like, you need to know the card game before watching it. But if you do, Yu-Gi-Oh GX, the original one, it's I like it more than Naruto and more than. It's a very unpopular opinion because it really has no story at all. It was a bit, but not entire anime. I give up on it. Yeah. I imagine. In that sense, yeah, my greatest hero of all anime is Atem, without a doubt. The Pharaoh. I think he's the perfect role model for society. No, only Samurai Jack is close, but Atem is is just perfect. He's unexpressive like Anakin. You motherfucker. You like unexpressive characters. This is what any anime fan. Samurai Jack. You watch Samurai Jack District. It's my favorite. It's my top one of all time. It's my top one of all time. It's my favorite one. I think it's the best. Alongside Atem, I would place Atem there in a draw with Jack. It's the best. I was so happy when they continued it. I think last year they continued. No, it was more than a year ago. Adult Swim finished it with the 5th season. Yes. I was so. I also knew about it recently. The producer of Samurai Jack is then created a new series after that one. Unicorn Warriors Eternals. The spirit of Samurai Jack lives in Unicorn Warriors Eternal. Then if you love Samurai Jack as much as I did, it's a Unicorn Warriors Eternal for you. Per season, they do. If you are a Samurai Jack fan, you must be cheering in happiness by now. If you didn't know about Unicorn Warriors Eternal, he did Primal, but it wasn't like Unicorn Warriors Eternal. I think Unicorn Warriors Eternal, besides a bit of shallowness about the protagonist, it's okay. Versus I wanted to see always the final. Did you watch it? District, the final season. If you wanted that, it. Well, I don't want to do spoilers to you. Yes, you watched it. Well, if you watch it, was the fight itself was a disappointment because there was no fight really. There was no fight, and you were disappointed. Indeed, there was no fight. There was no fight. There was no fight. There was no fight. But still, what I would rescue as a good what's this? Was a good thing is that while the final season does not have the quality of the other ones. Hey, what's this? I skipped another thing? What the fuck? Lost Legend. Didn't I do this shit? What the fuck? The good thing that I would rescue from that. No, here I did the 2 bosses. Look at this. We explored them. I remember them. Aha, not there. Okay. Mistra. Where would that be? Land of Immortals is the last zone that I didn't explore. No, Bastion of the Order. No, do the other one. Do the other one. No, which one? Shadows of the Path. This one. Enter Mistra. This one. Dark Heritage. No, which one? You tell me, District. I farmed the levels on my own. To understand. Elonidios. That. Elonidios. Travel to the abandoned fishing village of Mistra and retrieve the glowing blue artifact. Shadow of the Past. Shadows of the Past. This one. Enter Mistra. This one. Yeah. Question is, I don't know where. Ah, there. I have a guy there. Yes. Shadow of the Past. Let's go. Mistra. Let's go. Yes, a long side quest and a long main quest I'm seeing. So I farmed the levels on my own, pretty much, to understand the pain of the players. I went to the Cradle of Frost and there with some. Yeah, 6 out of 12. Perfect. Okay, let's see where it guides us. So you like Samurai Jack District? You like Samurai Jack? Well, it's one of my, as I said, it's my top one. As I said, alongside. As for characters, I would put Atem top one. Atem for me, the Pharaoh of Yu-Gi-Oh is top one. But then of course Jack. So without a doubt, the final season as positive. Yep. Okay, so you like Samurai Jack? I was going to. So you can see that Western cartoons were good back in the day, right? Nowadays, I feel so. It must happen to you, District. I feel so. I feel shitty. Yes, I feel shitty directly. I feel like it. It pains me physically to see that younger generations will never watch unless they somehow someone somehow tells them what they were back in the day. They will never watch any good Western cartoons. The only ones. This is what happened that I was explaining. Western cartoons turned disappeared, and video games filled that pretty much filled that void, and only Eastern cartoons have retained the quality of the writing of the 90s and the early 2000s, let's say, somehow. So, precisely, I feel absolutely terrible. It physically pains me. There's one thing that physically pains me is that Samurai Jack, Mega XLR, but I can go even further. Time Squad, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Batman of the 90s, Batman of the Future. There's one that is so forgotten that is amazing as well, which is so forgotten. Legion of Superheroes. I bet no one has watched Legion of Superheroes. Of course, Dexter's Laboratory, the Powerpuff Girls, etc., the classic ones. But there are so many hidden gems, and the only one that I see, I think I may know some anime. I may know you may know some anime. Ambra has already recommended me, and you as well. No, but no, I just it's way too difficult for me. It's way too difficult for me because I told you I cannot watch anything past 2010. It's I just can't. I think we've gone into a spiral of stupidity, into a spiral of stupidity to such degree. There are some good ones. For example, Generator Rex and Ben 10 Alien Force were post 2010, but more or less 2010, 2015, the ones that were going more or less that period of time. I just I'm sure you watch Shaman King. No, no, I didn't. I didn't. I like more Western ones, as I said. I watched every single cartoon of Cartoon Network. Every single one up to 2010. All. When I say all, is all of them. Anime, generally no. Generally the ones that I told you, the classic ones. Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. Really? Yes, yes, I cannot bring myself. I cannot. It's way too difficult. It's way too difficult for me to watch something modern. It's way too difficult. I belong to some values that are just not represented nowadays. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Imagine this district. Imagine this. And I don't know if it may sound terrible, but uh, the figure of the figure. Please, no one hate me because of this. The figure of the damsel in distress. Of the damsel in distress. Nowadays, doesn't exist. It would be seen as a piece of shit. As a piece of shit, it would be seen. The figure of the damsel in distress. Um, what it represents for me when any protagonist is trying to save specifically a woman, which is a problem nowadays, that they just cannot show that. They just cannot, and they will not show that. For example, the second I see the writers just cannot show that, I already assume that there's a lot of stupidity in that. Why? Because they are insulting. They're insulting directly. Directly, they're insulting any, all of our parents, all of our grandparents, all of the previous generations in 2,000 years of humanity, because the figure of the damsel in distress wasn't an insult in the 90s. It wasn't an insult. It was an act of love. And when people insult love and family like that, I just cannot watch it. You bet what I mean. I just cannot watch it. When I see that the writers just cannot put a damsel in distress that is saved, and she is thankful to the hero or protagonist of the tale or whatever, I already assume that the writers are a bit of a coward. I'm sorry. I don't know if you watched. How many damsels in distress have you seen in modern series district, for example? And I grabbed that topic as I could grab other ones. For example, the figure of parents and grandparents. In the case of a lot of these, they don't exist as well. Am I right or wrong? District, maybe if you want to tell me that I'm completely wrong and I have no idea what I'm saying, no worries. I have no problem. I have no problem in that sense. I know the things that I say are quite unpopular, but I'd rather say those things than just not give you my thoughts. Pretty much is that. For example, no, it's impossible even for Japanese writers. The characters, if you have one male, one female character, they need to be on equal ground or something like that. Which I don't say is not a valid idea, but it's done deliberately. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's done deliberately. And we all know it. And because of that, it's not natural. And if it's not natural, I don't I don't feel like doing that. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be good female characters and etc. And independent and everything, but it's way too exaggerated. It's way too exaggerated, the proportion, if you ask me, in that sense. I don't know. And for example, in Generator Rex, relatively modern, but just to see how much it has changed. The love interest of the character is against the protagonist for the first season and the second season, and it's independent and everything, and what they say about having independent female characters. But then, because of absolutely logical reasons, and the good acts of the protagonist, in the third season, she does embrace the good actions of the protagonist, in that sense. And it has a positive message in that sense for society. So, when I see that they cannot do that at all, out of fear or cowardice, I straight up feel disgust directly, because they are insulting love, and insulting love is something that shouldn't be taken lightly. That's what I have. That's something that I have as a quite. If there's something I have to thank my Roman ancestors, my Italian ancestors, and everything, is that insults to love, to the love between men and women, and to parents and to grandparents, insults to that are not taken lightly, and I don't take them lightly. And they piece and shit on those things by making female characters behave 100% like male characters. They directly insult love, and directly insulting love shouldn't be taken lightly. I don't take it lightly, in that sense. I take those. See, if you wanted to find one thing that I staunchly defend, is that. That's why I think a lot of things in modern society are terrible, and they are reflected upon those series. I think they are reflected. For example, making a female character that loves and cares for the man she loves is seen as bad. Is seen as bad in a lot of cases. Is seen as bad, and for me that's a transgression that I just can't. can't accept, pretty much. Quite interesting, my mind, isn't it, District? Quite interesting. I would be publicly stoned on any country I went to, probably nowadays. Oh well. Consequences will be for those who precisely not for me. It will be for people who insult the natural course of love like they did. Pretty much like trying to reprehend expression of those feelings. Because at the end of the day, it's what they are trying to do. Well, you know that I'm a lawyer, and precisely the amount of false allegations has skyrocketed in the last years, precisely because of those things, and that's something that has no forgiveness at all. It has no forgiveness at all. In that sense, you are trying to destroy a natural feeling of society, and for me that has no. It's a red line that I cannot tolerate. Trying to destroy the natural feelings of society. I think about how many young men and women could have been perfectly together with a bit more of tolerance in between them, that was absolutely dissected and eliminated artificially by these people, specifically the Obama administration, if you ask me. So, and I think those tunes reflect that. In that sense, I think they reflect that. And as I've said, they try to step on and destroy lab in a disgusting way. In that sense, especially, it's like that. I must be the most hated person. Well, not all, because I'm quite calm when expressing all of these things. But I must be the most old school one. I don't know about the most hated, but the most old school one on the platform. In that sense. Okay. Unless the series that you are mentioning had a different name, but no, I pretty much cannot bring myself to watch anything past 2015. I can't. I just can't. 2015, like for Generator Rex and Ben 10 Alien Force, that were the last ones. But yeah, generally like that. Yeah. 2010 maximum, pretty much. I would say all of them after 2010, they all, except for the Japanese ones, some of them in that sense. But even the Japanese ones to some degree, even nowadays, even if people don't like to express it. Talk to the harp of time in the habits of time. Shit. There. You have to activate it from the left side, hero, not from the right side. From the right side it doesn't work. Our hero searches for what lies unharmed in days bygone, when Antique was still old. I will tell you what happened long ago. Enter Atlantis above water. Let's go. I love how the quest makes you go back once again through all of the stuff. But yeah, what I was mentioning, to wrap it up about the series, about the cartoons district, yes, I think all modern ones, even the Japanese ones, even if it's hard to accept for a lot of us, they, as I've said, they insult the figure of lab, and that's a red line that I just cannot get through. That I just cannot accept in that sense. I would suggest Mega XLR if someone wants to have a laugh instead. Pretty much. So yeah, maybe one day I bring I master the courage to watch anything past 2010, but I just can't. I just can't for now. I would need a degree of I would need a degree of patience that about, as I said, about specifically that modern series piece on the figure of love between men and women, and I just cannot, and it's something that I just cannot do it. As I've said, for me it's a huge transgression modernly when love between men and women is attacked like that. For me, that's brutal. That's absolutely brutal. That's a red line that that if any series crosses it, no, it's a transgression that I wouldn't have in that sense. I don't know if I am the most hated small channel out of the platform, but definitely, as I said, the most old school in that sense. Not my intention, but yeah, in that sense. Okay, people, 7 out of 12. I would have never imagined that the game forces you to once again. Alone, it does not. I think I can travel from here. It forces you to once again go through. Oh, this is the main quest. I want to believe this is the main quest. I want to believe it. But it forces you to go back through all of the zones. Like for something completely isolated from the course of the main story, pretty much. Did you find the relic? Where? Deep in the volcano. Not very precise. I have the feeling you are hiding something, but at least you brought me a rubbing of your finds. So the Dark Soul was defeated by a hero named Biorit? How interesting. I received a message from John. He wrote that he's waiting for you in Andrakash. You should hurry and tell him about your discovery here. I wish you good luck on your way, and be sure to show John a copy of the inscription. Meet John Sankler in Andrakash. Okay. I don't know how close to the end I could be. So, Andrakash, it was in Northlands or what? Here, yeah, I knew it was somewhere over here. So it forces you to go back all the way through all of the continents. Interesting. I am curious about, from a level design perspective, where the game ends. Like, where it ends. Because there's only one zone that we haven't explored. Welcome, allow me to introduce you to my dear friend Bajarash, the best mechanic in Andrakash. She's trying to create a machine capable of generating shadow portals. Yet we're still missing some pieces. Could you collect them for me? I forgot. How was your journey to Elonidos? Hand over the tail of Orit. A soul parted from the body? How can that be? If this soul is the dark force that the Eternal Eyes mentioned, it was sealed in Atlantis, correct? How did it return and come to land in Feyberg? Did you find anything I asked for? No. Collect 30 spare parts in Technics Engineering Stalgard. This is like isolated from the main story. Like, it makes a break. Or will they connect in the end? We don't know. It's in here. A little bit of painful there. Pretty much. After you finish with Drakensang story next, Diablo Immortal, please. Don't tell me, District, that you got tired of your favorite game. What is this? A sacrilege. The developers of Drakensang are not happy with you. You are asking me to now change the game district when you love Drakensang? No, no. Uh-huh. But you are close to finish. I'm close to finishing the story. You said 60% last week. It can't be. You said 60% of the story. Am I at 60% or at 90? I'm close to finishing it. You move fast. Last week it was 60% or it was 90%. You move fast. No, I just farmed the 3 levels. No. You move fast. No. No worries. We can do district. There's one thing, district. Please, there's one thing. I will play Diablo Immortal on that one. Please understand that at some point I will have to at least return to one day of Star Wars The Republic, because you know that when I play offline, I play Star Wars. I have my friend from the United States from Star Wars The Republic. In that sense, I will also and besides, I want to finish Eternal Throne Master mode. We can do that by the end of the year. I will do one day of Diablo Immortal, one of Drakensang or Titan Quest, and I will probably by the end of the year add one of Star Wars The Republic 4. Then, yeah. In that sense, you move, but I was at 60%. I was at 60%. Or at 90, you move fast. Like, this is the ending. I cannot believe it. You know how I farmed the levels? I think I didn't tell you at the beginning. Were you here? I said it at the beginning. It took me 1 hour from 53 to 54, and then no. Well, I didn't use the desert. It's not that I didn't follow your advice. I tried the desert, but eventually, in the case, I did a bit of a trick. From 53, you can see that in the last stream, it's still up, fortunately, thanks to the 15 days and everything. I was like at half of 53. Okay? So, from half of 53 to 54, I did side quests in the desert region with a Tome of Experience. It took me 1 hour to go from half of 53 to 54 because I had the side quests. Boosted by I bought the encyclopedia there of knowledge, the Tome of Experience, 1 hour. 1 hour I bought Tome of Experience, 1 hour. Then from level, yes, but that wasn't the key. Then it is true, when I was at empty level 54, that I did that on Friday. I said, perfect, 1 level, we are done. Then then I went to play Star Wars The Republic. My poor guild master. My poor guild master. They were all missing me. Where were you? Erase. Where were you? We were asking for you. I have a problem, people. I have several groups. Over at Star Wars The Republic that love playing with me offline. I have a problem. But well, I could go there, I play Saturday, etc. By the end of the day, then during the day I do the other things for my family's business and everything. I couldn't do the sub emotes for the channel. I could do the. I was organizing all of the YouTube bots. I have the YouTube bots organized up until next year. Already. It's in January of 2026 already. The delay. Then, from 54 to 55, the key, the secret that I did. I grabbed an Encyclopedia of Experience, 3 hours, 100% extra experience. I only consumed 2 hours. 2 hours. I went to the Cradle of Frost. I did a bit of dungeon shopping. I tried one dungeon, another one. I did the Cradle of Frost on excruciating. And that one, because the enemies are compressed in groups in Lortag. it was. They are compressed in groups, they don't do any area of effect damage, they don't pose a threat. I changed my skill tree. I added here health regeneration and health regeneration every time I kill an enemy. Because if you pay attention, I paid attention. The blood mage there, see that they are all percentages of damage, so it doesn't matter if your overall health drops a bit, because anyways the blood mage will consume a percentage of it. So if your regeneration is high enough, it's much more important than the overall amount. Well, once I figured that out, I started looting good gear. For example, all of this 64 gear that I have here gave me a boost, and with that I went to the Cradle of Frost, and in 2 hours I could do 54 to 55 in 2 hours. Because of the density of the enemies. It took me more time picking the correct dungeon in that sense. Damn, yes. With the Cradle of Frost, in 2 hours I could do it. I didn't complete the quest of this thingy, Mighty Threat, all dungeons. No, I entered, I killed the big groups, and then I would respawn them immediately. In that sense. And like that, on excruciating, it was faster than all of the side quests that I could do. Well, in the case of, if you have side quests, it's faster with side quests. In that sense, from 53 to 54, it was faster. With the side quests. Besides, I had a head start. Like the bar was more or less over here. It was at 30% at least. In that sense. But then from 50, it was all of a revelation. I had to see, I checked the dungeons, I tried that there. It took me more time finding the correct enemy density. But once I picked it, since I picked it, 2 hours, pretty much. The Virginia's Cradle of Frost. The Cradle of Frost in Lortak. It was. The enemy density is just way too good, and they don't pose a threat, pretty much. They don't pose a threat in that sense. And with the Tome of Experience, of course, I got killed 1 or 2 times. I got killed 1 or 2 times, but it was still faster. Damn. Well, I don't know. For me, that's what worked for me. I don't know if it helps anyone else with this part. I can assure you, for me, it worked. You just grab the Tome of Experience, and I had it. I had 3 hours. I bought 1 of 3 hours, and in 2, let's say 2.5, because I had a bit of experience from the previous level. In 2.5, I can assure you, you can do 1 level from 54 to 55. So I would suggest that one, if I had to say, in that sense. So yeah, it was like 2.5 hours. I could farm it on my own. I wanted to experience it as a normal player would, but I said, well, if it's going to prevent me from then playing Star Wars New Republic with my friends offline, no. But it didn't. It was 1 hour on Friday and 2 on Sunday. By the end of it, then I could help my guildies, no problem. No problem. I had to on Saturday. I was demanded by 3 groups. In that sense, I never been so demanded in my life. In my life, people. 3 groups. Race or play with us? Here, are you gonna play with us? There was a group with. See if I make sacrifices in life, people. There was, and still I farmed the thingies at Drakensang. Then I could play with them. There was a group with some good players there. In that sense. But yeah, it was not something intrusive at all, like the farming for level 55. It wasn't intrusive at all. Yes, it's a slog. It's a level design flaw, and the main problem is that I spent most of the time trying to figure out which dungeon was actually efficient at that. But when I found the dungeon, it's from that second 2 hours and a half. I must have lost 1 more hour just checking out the dungeons, and but it was pretty much that. It was pretty much that. In that sense. So, district, you are telling me you move fast. I'm not at 60%. Am I at what? I'm not at 60%. Now you tell me that I'm right at the end, and I get a surprise. If so, I have news for you. If this is the case and the game ends now, I have a surprise for you. You're like 70%. Okay. Then the game has still has. Okay. So you stand by that I was 60, 70. Okay. Perfect. All right. I have news for you. If you play the one that I played last year, that for example is the game that Crowbar and Pekarin, let's say my older followers, found my channel for, it will be much longer than this if you do all of the side quests, huh? I can assure you that this game is a candle compared to the sun that is Sacred 2 and is offline. I'm telling you that. I know that this one has the online experience and everything that Sacred 2 won't give you because it's offline. Though they are going to remaster it, that's why Pekarin was crazy the other day about it. But check out the game that I played last year and you can see that it took me a whole year to finish it. Sacred 2. It's also German, it's also from the same period of time. It's quite similar in its gameplay mechanics. I can assure you that then Drakensang Online wasn't that big in terms of the story. Because I did all of the side quests. Almost all of the side quests, pretty much up until now. 1 year to finish a game? Yes. Doing all of the side quests? Yes. It's called Sacred 2. It's so big, the game map, that it's like World of Warcraft. I'm not bluffing, you can check out the videos. I think that one has been completely broadcasted in that sense. Oh, all of the enemies died. The main story lasts with all of the side quests. Here I did the side quests. I did side quests here. With all of the side quests in that 1 year. Just to get through the map. Sacred 2. I can assure you there's an isometric action RPG, German developed, from the same period of time, much bigger than Drakensang Online. Yes. That the quests are quite similar, like this MMORPG-like, etc. It's called Sacred 2. I awarded it a 10 out of 10. You have the 4-hour review that I had to do about it because of how massive it was. Here in the channel. It's the most watched review of the channel for a reason, in that sense, and it is a great game. I assure you that Drakensang Online is like this of a small compared to that game world. It is the absolute beast of German developed isometric action RPG games, and it has no point of comparison if you think this one is big. 1 year to finish a Damage District. Yes, I can assure you, it's like that. It is like that. Sacred 2, people. Everyone has to play Sacred 2. Everyone has to play Sacred 2. 1 year only to finish it? on normal difficulty, yeah? On normal difficulty, then it's like Diablo. It can scale to. Then you have to play it again. You can play it again like 4 times again. So you have to multiply 1 year for 4 times. I didn't do it. I just played it on normal, 1 run, like I'm doing here. That one you can play it again on silver, gold, and platinum difficulties. I think it was something like that. You start at bronze. I did bronze. Pretty much the normal difficulty, because it wouldn't let me choose any other. Otherwise, I would have cranked it up to the maximum. Probably, I generally do that. I generally play the games like first run on the highest difficulty possible, and that's it, pretty much. But in that one, it's like Diablo. You are level locked out of it. So yeah, pretty much, people. If you want an infinite game, Sacred 2. Sacred 2. 1 year to finish it. 1 year to finish it. It's absolutely brutal. It's absolutely brutal. It has an amazing mechanics. Pretty similar to the ones implemented here, but even more complex as well. And well, since it's offline, you can play it at your own pace. It doesn't have seasons. It will remove all of the annoyances of Drakensang Online. Yes, I'm telling you this truth. If it took you 1 year, if it can easily take you 1 year to finish it. Easily. And you won't have to farm, eh? It will be natural. The level scaling is pretty well done, and it will be natural, 100%. It will be natural as you move from one zone to another zone, and etc, etc, etc. It will be completely natural, in that sense. Pretty good level scaling, if you ask me. 100% perfectly designed, so I highly recommend anyone who likes Drakensang Online to play Sacred 2. It was developed in the same period of time, also by German developers, and I bet you'll love it. They're about to release a remastered version of it, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. There we go. Well, I played it like this, like 3-4 hours every stream. Maybe if you play more, you can finish it earlier, but still it will last you infinitely. Even if you played and played and played, there's just so many side quests, that is like World of Warcraft all for you, in that sense. So, District, you mentioned that I'm 70% through the story here. I told you I would farm the level, but I already got a problem. Indeed. So yeah, no, it has no point of comparison with Sacred 2. Sacred 2 will take you much more time. Will take you much more time than this game, even with the season system and everything. It's just massive. Good, we are at 20 stacks, people, there. We're at 20 stacks. Remember, every time I kill an enemy, I leech life off them, and that allows me to keep the blood mage up. You must be wondering, people, by now what we're doing. Well, it's an endless quest. Apparently, it's the ending of the game, close to the ending. Here, we just have one more region. And then you were asking me about Diablo Immortal, for example. Well, we can see about that one. We'll have to replay the clip, though, at the beginning. We'll have to replay the clip. Don't you guys have phones? We'll have to replay that one, District, if we play Diablo Immortal that you're asking me about. Pretty much. We'll have to reiterate the legendary clip. So, 8 out of 12, I have to collect 30 spare parts. I love how it forces you to go back all the way through all of the continent of Duria in this case. Duria, you know that because of the license issue that I mentioned to Ender. Ender, always a salute that you are there over at Discord. I mentioned to the Ender some streams ago. Precisely, they couldn't. The real name of the continent of Drakensang, of the Dark Eye, of the original German tabletop game creation, was the continent of Aventuria, not Duria. They had to call it Duria and change the names of some of the characters because they couldn't get the license for the tabletop game of this game. We read all of the. You have the whole story of the developers and everything in the first stream, people. I released it over at YouTube, so you should have it there. In that sense. So, pretty much. That's the idea. That's the idea. So you'd like Diablo Immortal District, okay. You'd like Diablo Immortal. You already asked me. So about it, we'll see what we can do about that one. We'll see what we can do about that one. Now you want me to do an autopsy of the case. We still have the final analysis, people, huh? We still have the final analysis of this one, huh? We need to do the final analysis in which I will dissect everything that I did, everything that we did in these 20 days. Pretty much. Spare parts. Okay. Talk to John Sankler in Andrakash. Yeah, look at that, people. Look at that. We are pushing through the story. We are pushing through the story with our own means. A Titan Quest. Tomorrow we'll play Titan Quest precisely. That we beat Hades. I highly recommend you check out the final boss that we did last. I was rewatching the VOD of last week, people, and the final boss and Hades of Titan Quest. My mouse movements, I could barely follow them. I don't know how the fuck I did that shit when we beat Hades last week. You have the clip. I already uploaded it as a clip. You have it over at Discord. It's like the mouse movements are so fast that I can barely see them now. I could see it back when I did it, but now I can. It's difficult to follow them. Did you find everything? Thank you. I knew I could count on you. We might be able to find the one who is behind the misery of my ancestors' village. We require something capable of reflecting shadow matter. Perhaps Queen Agrasha can help us. For example, this Agrasha is in the ending of Drakensang 1 that we streamed at the beginning of the year. People, for example, it's a character that it wasn't like this. It had a different model. At the end of the final boss fight against the dragon and everything. A reflector for dark matter. Ah, I might know what you need, but you won't find it here. You might need a little expedition. My people have told me about mirrors made from obsidian. They give off a mystical aura, but it will give a long and dangerous journey to get to them. Oh, and we go back to Lortag now. Okay. I must be the only person ever doing the whole story as we review the game. By the way, people, in terms of the review, we have already pretty much covered every single aspect of the game. We've dissected every single aspect that the game has to offer to us. Then we only have the final analysis left. We only have the final, our classic, legendary final analysis left for it, in which we'll dissect the game and award it a final score. But it was over here. But pretty much we've already covered everything from the influence of the level design on the gameplay mechanics to the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics to pretty much everything. The influence of the graphic design on the gameplay mechanics, the fact that some of the projectiles were pretty well designed so you couldn't see them, from the leveling experience pace of the game to, I don't know, pretty much everything that the game had to offer. We dissected it tenfold. An obsidian mirror, the Toltec loved to build them for the gods and put them in all the temples, but after the mines corrupted, most of the mirrors were destroyed. With a little luck, you might find one in Nahuatl. I mean, here in corner, but maybe one mirror survived. As I've mentioned, in terms of the grandeur category of the analysis, the fact that in this game the story is disconnected, that each region is completely disconnected from the other ones, is a huge drawback because it lacks a connective, a cohesive element that connects the whole story plot. Like, it feels dislodged, isolated. They'll feel isolated from each other, the the plots of each region. Add to that the fact that it's not voice acted, that is not voice acted at all, and you get a combination that is extremely difficult to follow for any player 100%. That is extremely difficult to follow, absolutely disrupting to follow. Like, there's no element to connect everything that the game has to offer. Give me a second, people. I have to drink a bit of water, and I'll go and I'll come back. Give me a second. That is pretty much the idea. The main element that I would criticize so far, besides the brutal um, leveling experience that the game does have, in that sense, that it forces you to do all of the side quests and everything. Pretty much the idea is that there isn't a cohesive element that connects all of the regions. It's just go there, do the side quests, etc. Now, a lot of people could argue to that. They could argue to that well, World of Warcraft is the same, and pretty much that's it, and you don't need that. Yeah, but the problem is that World of Warcraft already had a direct connection with the audience in that sense, uh, because of Warcraft 3. Because of Warcraft 3. Because of Warcraft, that's it. Pretty much we just inspected and that's it. Because of Warcraft 3 and Arthas, and it already had a connection with the player beforehand starting, and they immediately, it didn't have it at launch. It was only 4 years later with the Lich King expansion that you see there. But still, still. You had Sylvanas, you had the characters, you had everything pretty much already. The foundation was laid out. In the case of this game, it had the tabletop, but it couldn't use the characters. It couldn't use the characters at all. You can see that Rakorium is actually in this game, but they cannot even name him Rakorium or the King of the Dwarves as well. They were in the first game, but they had to change their names and like wash them 100% in that sense. Oh, holy science, a mirror made from obsidian, astonishing use of stone relief with the face of a beast next to the mirror. I hope it won't come out of it when we open the portal. Ha, really, I hope it won't. One final thing is missing, still missing, and it is a sad one at that. We require a tear catcher filled with the sorrow of those left behind. Water is precious in the desert, so they even preserve their tears in Quezai. Can you please bring me one? Treasure cave in Quezai. Oh, hell if I know that region. Hell if I know that region. A treasure cave. Hell if I know that region. Let's see, increase it to painful so it gives us a bit of experience. But yeah, pretty much I would say so far, as conclusions, um, I would highlight. That the biggest flaw I've seen in this game so far is one, the